Hello, my dear, dear friends. I'm so happy that you're here. This week is a solo episode with me, Bella. We are going to dive right in because there are so many important messages coming through me. And in the last few weeks, I have really jumped into a timeline inversion of my reality where so many moving pieces have clicked into place. And I have been experiencing a lot of creative breakthroughs, divine breakthroughs, breakthroughs in my creative expression, and a huge revelation about surrender and releasing the grip on life. This conversation is going to resonate with you a lot if you have been feeling like you are in between identities, stages of life, like the old way of being and doing things is no longer working, or like the concept of manifestation that you have created in your mind maybe is starting to feel like it's just another place for your ego to hide and try to control. I'm going to get into all of these things, but the main thing that I want you to feel into is to listen in to this conversation with your heart and with your whole body, to breathe into the frequency and the energy behind my words. So I'm feeling so inspired because in my life, I feel like I've dropped into this like a whole other level of peace and of alignment and of feeling so freaking fulfilled and feeling this essence of like a truly rich life, this richness of life, this fulfillment, this excitement, so much life force and vitality, just literally dripping in every aspect of life. And something unlocked in me that actually did not have to do so much with actions and striving, but actually so much more with facing the resistance and fears that I had around a vision of life that was starting to drop in that actually really scared me and actually challenged me a lot, and my sense of identity and the stories and programs that were kind of playing out on autopilot, and a lot of these stories that weren't even mine. So let's go ahead and just drop into the main themes for today, okay? We will be talking about how to reframe this concept of manifestation and this concept of you knowing what you are doing and you feeling like you can actually trust life and trust yourself. Reframing planning and control, and ultimately connecting it into how you can unleash your greatest expressions of creativity yet. And this is part of what has been coming through for me, and this huge clicking into place where getting out of my own way to let my creative life force move through me and to literally let God move through me, to let source move through me, source energy, how that has made me feel. It's pretty difficult to describe, but the best words I can put to it are this level of fulfillment, of trust, of joy, of this richness, this total love and embrace of where my 2 feet are now, and also an excitement for the vision of the future that I know I did not myself just come up with, but was truly planted in my heart and in my body by God, by the universe. And I kind of use those terms interchangeably, even though technically I do think there is a difference between saying God, universe, and source, or Gus, as Erica, our Omi, likes to call it. But anyway, I want you to break up with the idea that you need to have every piece of your vision, the how, the plan, and all of the next steps figured out. Because what you're going to see through this transmission today is that the more you surrender and the more that you let the next steps and the how and the when and all of that come to you from a state of flow, intuition, and by letting those things be provided to you by source, that is actually how you will be more guaranteed to experience the life of your dreams. And I know how many of you have a calling on your heart, a vision in your mind, and something that is calling you, it's just pulling you. And we can so easily be carrying with us old paradigm ways of manifestation, of bringing something, literally manifesting a thing from energy into form, where we're actually just trying to control, and we think we need to have all of the steps figured out in order to be okay and to feel relaxed about our day to day and where we're headed in life. And how many of us have that voice of like, I'm still figuring it out and I don't know where I'm going, and not saying those things from a place of trust, but feeling like at some future, nebulous time, you will actually finally know what to do. So this is the first thing I want to talk about, which is the manifestation trap, something that I personally know incredibly well. And it's when your vision just becomes another form of control. And it's so nuanced because it is all about the consciousness injected into these things. Because as you know, if you are a vivid listener of the Out of Our Minds podcast and you have tuned in to our work and everything that we do, we absolutely are co-creators of our reality, and we talk all the time about the vision and about bringing that into reality. But there are such subtle energetics playing out. And these things, the subtle energetics of how these things play out is what will determine your experience of these things, and will determine if these things are actually coming from fear and coming from your ego trying to control and feel okay, or from your soul remembering the higher truths about this reality. And I think a lot of people in the manifestation world, they get this, honestly, like an initial dopamine boost, if you will, from the idea that you can just drop anything into form, which is true. You are this powerful being that has the power to create your reality, and you're already doing it. You've been doing it your whole life. But we can kind of come into it and feed the ego's want to control, the ego that wants to have a plan. And I'm not talking about the divine expression of planning and the logistics and these gifts that many of us have of being able to, use logic to create something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about becoming addicted to outcomes instead of being very fulfilled by presence. And it's a very fine line. And as we know on this path, we're meant to oscillate between different states to really learn and reflect on what we're doing. And I will be the first to say that I have been catching myself and reflecting on when I am just becoming addicted to outcomes. The same thing. This is the edge of the manifestation world that is still stuck in the old paradigm that is clearly not serving our highest good, or at least maybe for some of us who want to feel more fulfilled in the present moment. It's just wearing a mask, okay? It's the same old story of cling, grab onto things, and show me your plan. And if you don't have a plan, things aren't going to work out. So this is the illusion of control, when what we're really trying to do is we're trying to prevent discomfort, and we're trying to prevent the unknown. There is a very common belief and story that will play out if this is the case for you. And this is exactly what was the case for me, which is this belief that if I am not directly involved in every aspect of my life, if I am not always consciously manifesting and doing the work to bring good things in, then the outcome won't be good, and something much worse must be dropping in. And this is a lie. This is a lie. When you stop planning and you stop obsessing over the details of your life, you actually end up making room for the highest form of intelligence to come through. And I had a moment where I heard someone speaking about this exact concept of how we can slip into another form of control and satiating the ego by thinking that we have to be so vigilant about our life. And I realized it was me playing and holding up the belief that if I'm not vigilant about my life, then the outcome might not be as good. And this is where the universe is so magical and so wonderful. Because when you actually release that grip, you will start to feel this literal presence moving through you, moving all around you in your life. And for me, this presence is actually what I would consider to be the creative life force moving through us. And it's really hard for the universal intelligence to move through you when you are literally tightened up like a clam, trying to figure out every detail of life. And when you look at it both through energetics and even just in this physical reality, you will be able to pinpoint and realize, oh my God, I was just tightened up like a little clam and I couldn't release because I thought I was buying into the conditioning that says if my mind is not aware of every single detail and is consciously creating at every single moment, every part of my reality, at least from the mind's perspective, then the outcome won't be as good. And I'm going to talk about in a second where this conditioning is coming from. But what happens is when you make your priority to open up your creative channel, you will start to see the energy, you will start to feel and truly become aware of the divine energy that has always been around you and working through you. And it's creative because this is really how I define creativity. It is really just you opening up your channel and becoming available to the genius that's coded in your DNA. It means becoming available to what God wants to move through you. Creativity, specifically, if you want to think about it, energetics, is that sacral chakra, that sacral energy center that is all about expression and is this engine of life that moves through you and pushes life force. And in this view, you can kind of think about how life force is all around, right? And the creator, the capital C creator of this universe is literally providing life force, is life force itself. So creativity becomes the pathway to surrender. This is the point that I'm getting to. Because creativity is not just making art and taking action on visions and things. It is a state of receptivity to divine flow. Creativity is a state of receptivity to divine flow. All beings are creative. It is essentially the most basic function of humans, and I would say the universe, to create, to expand. And so when we become so busy to a degree that is out of alignment and not led by the soul, and we are listening so much to societal noise, to TV shows and how they present what a young woman should be doing, to old concepts of motherhood, to business how-to and strategy. It can come in any flavor, and it's not to knock inherently any of those things because they work for some people, but when you are tuning into noise that is blocking your access to that flow, right? If creativity is a state of receptivity to divine flow, there are things that are blocking your access to that flow and how that flow has access to you. And so if you start to see that creativity, right, and your essence, your genius is actually about you becoming available to divine flow, all of a sudden you will start to understand that you having a tight grip, that your physical state being one of tenseness and being so plugged in to everything around you versus everything within you, it's a very different experience of reality, and it is difficult to feel the energy of trust and of flow and of receiving guidance when you are meant to receive it. This is why human design changes your fucking life. This is why your soul blueprint. And as you start to become more you, more authentic, the more you be, you become available to divine flow. You become a channel for life force energy. And I am telling you, so many of us, that is actually what we are seeking, is to feel like we are a dancer in this life. This is the Zen concept of Wu Wei, the principle of non-forcing. It is dropping into that state where we lose track of time and we are so squarely in the present moment that the worries of life, the chatter of the mind, the conditioning of society melts away, and you become one with source, with your true self, with the universe itself. When you listen more into what is within you, that is what activates this divine flow. So the next concept that I want to highlight here is the different ways that we get plugged in and therefore unplugged from our flow. I had this visual of the two ways we can be plugged in, right? There is being plugged in horizontally and dispersing your energy in a way that depletes your energy. And then there is being plugged in to source. And imagine the two visuals are like, if you're not watching the video of this episode, it's like I'm pointing out away from my body, like as if my arms, whatever. If you just watch the video or just listen to the words I'm saying, being horizontally plugged in, okay, versus having a direct plug into source. And if you visualize how your physical body, you have this root to crown series of energy centers, and you think about being plugged in from root to crown, right? Having your feet on earth and your crown to the cosmos, and this vertical direct connection into source. And this visual just helps you understand how your energy becomes diluted and loses potency, right? You're feeling distracted. You feel like you can't get your ideas across. You're feeling literally just chaotic and things are just swirly whirling in a way that doesn't feel good. That happens when you are plugged in to too many things outside of yourself, or just things that don't actually plug you into source. And this is what's beautiful. It's different for everyone. We all have different things that plug us directly into source and turn the lights on within us. For some people, that is travel and adventure and trying a different coffee shop every day. For some people, that is sitting in the silence of their home. It is waking up at 5 a.m. and meditating for an hour. For other people, it is going to music festivals. Only you can know what plugs you directly into source. And when you are plugged directly into source, that is when your channel opens up. And it blossoms and it makes way for your genius to come through. Why? Because you have unplugged from the conditioning and the things of society that are diluting you and making you think you need that or you should want that, when in fact you don't fucking care about any of it. And I want to invite you to reflect on the things that you are plugged into right now that do not actually make you feel expanded. And right now, literally in this exact moment in time, the literal year of 2025 and this time span of leading up to 2027, which is leading up to this like really huge paradigm shift. I mean, the new paradigm is already here, but it's also happening as we speak. This is the time to reflect on these things. And for you, asking yourself, what are you plugged into, whether that be noise, comparison, social media, certain people on social media, certain gravitational fields around certain concepts of life. I mean, the list goes on. It could be anything. And what are you plugging into that is diluting your connection and is making you feel depleted rather than literally so full of vitality? Those are the things that you have to start to unplug from. And sometimes they're energetic, and they're subtle. This was the case for me. It was plugging back into what my highest self and what I believe God has in store for me. And when we redirect our focus from outside noise, from expectation, from shoulds, from all the things, back to inward alignment, this is when we start to receive the visions and ideas and the entire movie potential of our reality that causes you to look at who you really are and what you really want. And this brings me to a redefinition of surrender and of making space for limitless possibilities of your life to come through. We are taught that the mind is basically like the strongest energy center, organ of the brain, if you will, or like organ of the body. We have been over-indexing on our use of the mind. And it's also actually robbing the mind, that energy center and that part of our body, from its highest expression. And it's been very much in the shadow. Surrendering is not about giving up, right? Or letting go. Although sometimes, honestly, having a moment of quote unquote giving up is very divine because it forces you to loosen the grip. But this is about surrendering your idea of what your mind thinks you're supposed to do and opening up space for you to receive instead of logic your way through it and muscle your way through it, for you to receive your vision, truly receive it. And this is a very important distinction because we sometimes think, this is how we're trained as we grow up. A lot of us will resonate with this, that you are supposed to, you go through like the system of school and college, right? And as you're graduating, everyone's always like, what are you doing next? What's next for you? What's your plan? Where are you going to work? What are you going to do after that? And a lot of us are trained to create these 5-year plans of like, where are you going to end up? And it can be really beautiful. And there is such a sacred space for that. Don't get me wrong. However, it opts us in to this paradigm where the only way to be okay, to be successful, to meet the partner of your dreams, to start a family, to all the things, whatever it is, insert here. The only way to do that and make it happen is if you have control over every detail. It makes us really freaking confused, and it completely disconnects us from the ability to receive those answers from literally within us, but from within you also meaning your connection to source. And this idea that the universe, God, will literally provide you with the answers and the next step. And this is why it's so important to be aware of the system that you're breaking from, right? Of that path I was talking about, this like linear path to success of being the default wiring, and to reflect on how this programming is distancing us from our intuition and from, honestly, spontaneity and the mystery of life that is actually what we seek, right? It's literally thinking our way to fulfillment instead of feeling and being present and being our way to fulfillment. And it's this releasing of the addiction to having the timeline figured out, to your life being this like productivity competition. And when we surrender those things over, literally imagine yourself right now taking a deep breath. And as you exhale, you release all of the gripped expectations and plans for how things have to go in order for you to be okay, in order for you to look successful enough, to be cool enough, to be living the coolest dream life ever, according to something outside of you. And as you hand that over, you are making room for literal miracles to come through and for the highest possible vision to drop in. And this is where creativity is so tied in with this, guys, because when you listen to creatives speak, you will often hear that they literally feel like they did not come up with the ideas that they have themselves. Writers talk about literally receiving like a download in their mind, the cover of the book, the chapters, the whole concept, it dropping in, right? When you release the control of the vision for your life, you make room for the universe to provide you with a vision that is even more magical and even more aligned. And this is why we'll have a vision drop in that scares us and that stirs up all of the ego's concerns and stories. All of the shoulds and what about this and what about that? And the mind goes crazy. And this is how you know. This is how you know that things are shifting. Because when you stop overloading your mind with having to come up with all of the answers and having to be this person who knows what to do all the time, you free up all this energy in the rest of your body, right? All of your other energy centers, they all have a different form of intelligence that is speaking to you all the time. And then you become available to source energy to move through you. And this visual comes through for me of literally look around at how magnificent this earth is, like this natural planet and what has been created on this planet. Literally having this reverence for the creator of this universe and the energy, the literal creative awe that God puts into form on this earth. Mountains, animals, nature, these sunsets that make you cry, the existence of these waterfalls, and just reverence for the beauty of this earth. And then reverence for the divine human form that you are, and that the universe does not make mistakes. And it would not have brought you into existence if it didn't have a very special divine role for you. You will become available to that divine role, which means the aligned actions will come through, the next steps will come through, the timing, the how, the when, the actual answers that you seek will come through. But it's when you allow yourself to feel your way forward through trust, through presence, and through your body and through your true soul's authentic expression. And I want to be really clear when we talk about surrender of what is, quote unquote, in your control, right? The things that we don't, quote unquote, surrender over, so to speak. And it's really practical. It's remembering that what you are here to be in devotion to and what is directly in your control and is the thing that you are meant to be the active participant in is your daily actions, your intentions, your response to things, your behaviors, right? The person that you are, the human being you are becoming. You are an active co-creator in that. The healing work, right? The way you show up and engage with life. You are an active participant in those things. It's like seeing that the grander vision will be painted by the universe. You will be gifted a vision. I mean, this is literally the idea that you have a purpose, a mission that your soul came here to fulfill, and that it's a service, a mission that is a purpose, and a mission that is in service to the planet and to humanity. I made this video recently explaining how we'll kind of visualize that your soul came down here to earth, like you sort of dropped in from the heavens above and you're here on earth, and then you'll leave back the way you came, going up and out, which I think probably has some truth and merit to it. But I had this other visual drop in that I feel like speaks to the purpose literally of souls and of humanity and of the earth realm, which is seeing that earth is more like this portal. that you go through. Imagine everything is just energy. Your soul, the you that you are, this you listening, like your whole persona, all of you, your body, the aura, the whole thing is passing through the portal of earth to pick up these lessons and these energies and these processes, these frequencies, all of it, all the stuff that we experience here on earth, to pick those up for your soul to learn something. But then we can also think about how your soul and the you that you are, you, your individuated you, that earth is also passing through you. Like you are also happening to earth, meaning you are bringing a sacred energy, a sacred gift that affects the earth. Like it's a two-way street. You are learning from earth and earth is learning from you. And this is why when I'm saying this bigger, grander purpose and mission is not just something that you come up with out of the blue. You are literally planted with a vision that slowly over the years and over time, and sometimes it just drops in a moment, is how you become one with source. And it's your thing. It's your authentic vision. It's what makes you you. In order for you to receive that, you have to loosen up and stop trying so fucking hard. Seriously. You have to stop trying so fucking hard and being so obsessed with every detail, especially when that is coming from the energy of control and of satiating the ego's old stories. And I'll just add a little bit that this is a huge realization I've had in my life and that I've experienced with myself recently is it feels like something that's been building for months and years now. And just realizing how much joy, fulfillment, and richness drops into your life when you let God make really big decisions for you. And when you become available to the highest plan that the universe has for you. And it is so uncomfortable to the modern mind. I literally feel uncomfortable even saying that because of how hard it is for our controlling self to not think that that means we're like giving up and we're just like, I'll just let whatever happened. No, you are still a conscious participant in this whole game. You are just making more room for your actual genius, the thing that you are actually meant to do, rather than trying to take care of every freaking detail. It was never your job alone. The truth is, you don't need to be in control and driving every single piece of your life for you to have a beautiful life. You don't. On the other side of this release and this surrender, in that process, you make yourself available to things that don't even exist yet. And this is what is so fucking crazy about this experience. This is something that moves me like to tears, is to just think about how there's like this concept of, innovation and new things that come into existence, almost like inventions, if you will. I believe that each human being is here to take the raw materials and the source code that's in us all and to turn that into something completely individuated that has never been seen before. And it doesn't have to be, rocket science. It doesn't have to be creation of something insane. It can just be a way of being and living. It can just be a new definition of what it means to be a mother. It could just be a new way of relating to success, of climbing the hierarchy ladder of achievement. Those things become available to you when you become available to it, when you open yourself up. And we don't often think about it that way, of how being in this mind, this mentally created busyness, is cutting off our connection to source. This is often why when you go through spiritual awakening, you kind of go into hermit mode and you just hang out at home alone a lot because you are trying to be able to hear again that internal sacred voice that has always been there guiding you, but it becomes very difficult to hear it when there's too much noise. And once you do get that clarity, then what do? You go out and you do the fucking thing. You tune in and you receive your aligned actions every single day from your intuition, from within, from your inspiration. And you go and you do that and you make it fucking happen. And you absolutely work your ass off for the thing that has landed in your heart and that you know is meant for you. But all of that I just described comes from a totally different energy when you are tuned into source and what source has in store for you, because it is beyond what your mind can imagine on purpose. I mean that literally. It is beyond your imagination because the mind has never been meant to just fully conceptualize every part of it. We have always been meant to use the entire intelligence of our being to create our reality. And that vision, that grand vision provided by God, literally God's plan for you, is probably going to bring up a lot of fears and voices. It's going to bring up resistance. Oftentimes, we actually have the most fears and resistance to the visions that are the most aligned because they are meant to challenge us to individuate and choose our unique self over all the other noise and all the other conditions that have been blasted into our skull and our bodies from the world, but also just part of your soul's path. You know, we actually are also experiencing shadow expressions purely just from the energy that our soul carries. And sometimes it literally has nothing to do with like a childhood thing or societal conditioning. It's just that our soul creates certain circumstances for us to be able to reflect and then release the shadow expression of something so that we can make room for the gift of it. And often these things, these visions will scare you because of how real, how powerful they are, and because it will require you to shed the old. And even in that alignment, you can still be asking yourself, is this normal? Is this safe? Is this actually exciting? Am I actually living a cool dream life? Does everybody think I'm a fucking loser for this? Or does everyone think I'm a freak? Those voices will still be present when you are creating the aligned life. And that is honestly the sign that you are doing something right. Because this whole game is so much shedding and releasing so that we can remember and become plugged back into that source, that top to bottom source, being plugged directly into life force energy. At the heart of this episode, of this beautiful transmission, is the true power in trusting more than you plan. Being in the energy of trust and of not needing to know right now, not needing to know what a year from now holds, and making more room for the universe to surprise you with miracles and with joy and fulfillment and with your next greatest idea. I cannot tell you the insane ideas and visions and things that have been coming through me in these last few weeks since I really clicked in everything I really just shared with you. It is insane. It is, and truly, I feel this truth of when I say it is all thanks to God. And I feel so held and so guided. And like the creations coming through me and the vision of my life itself that is coming through is in such service to not just my highest good, but the highest good of the all. Your mind's discomfort, it's going to feel it. You're going to feel discomfort and shedding, but your soul knows how to flow and your soul is permanently connected to source. So when you let God in, universe in, the creator in, whatever feels good for you, you are creating space for miracles. When you be more you, when you align with the truth of who you are, right? This is why human design and gene keys have come to humans, have been gifted to us as humans in the time that they have, because they are teaching us how to be more just our unique soul essence. They are teaching us the language, the mechanics of the soul. Because when you live more, when you have your soul in the driver's seat, source is in the driver's seat. The creator itself is in the driver's seat, and it creates more than just this one. It's silly when you think about it. All the energy centers that we have, all the intelligence in the body, and we're like, let's just have this one mind center come up with everything. No, it's silly. It's silly. It doesn't work. And it's also not fair to the intelligence of the mind to make it do every job. So my closing remark here and invitation for you is when you let go a little bit more, you trust a little bit more, you will then get to focus in on the present moment. And right here, right now is what you were built for. Being in this moment here, being so grateful for where your 2 feet are, having so much reverence for the plan of your life, for all of the past occurrences and circumstances, no matter what the mind labels them as. When you are here and you invite yourself to breathe, to soften, and to trust again, you will create room for a life that is on purpose beyond your imagination, that is informed and colored and enhanced by your imagination, but doesn't rely on just your ability to think something up in order for it to happen. Ask yourself where you're gripping a little too tightly. Where is this control energy blocking your channel and making you unavailable to the magic that is floating around you? And just allowing yourself to feel into the reality, feel into the human being that you become when you are trusting, when you feel at peace, when you know that everything is going to be okay, everything is going to be more than okay. How do you act then? What do you prioritize then? Maybe all of a sudden that is what creates more space for you to do your Artist's Way morning pages, for you to journal every morning and prioritize your creative time, because you realize that everything is going to be more than okay, and that you being who you truly are, you letting your creative life force energy move through you, that is actually what is most important and is what will click all the other pieces of life into place. You are already being guided. You are incredibly held. And this vision that you have is not yours alone. It is the universe exploring itself through you. You are the universe experiencing itself. This vision that you have, you are not going at it alone. You are in co-creation with the magnificence of this infinite intelligence of the universe. That is why the vision scares you, because it requires you to let go of thinking that you are here doing it alone. Can you make room for the magic to come through? Can you make yourself available to source? Can you trust yourself and life to guide you? Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I love you. I see you. Let me know how this resonated with you. I am so grateful to get to share this message with you and for you to receive it with an open heart. Leave a comment below the episode on YouTube or Spotify, or send me a message. Make sure you check out the show notes and descriptions for anything that we have going on. And I will see you on the next one.